Welcome to another Dev Diary. Today we're here with Zander, who is our AI engineer at Global Goods Exchange, and we're going to talk AI today. So I'm really looking forward to this. Super exciting. Zander, how's it going?
It's going very well. I'm excited too. We got a lot of good stuff going on, and so I am happy to be here to talk about it.
Sounds great. Let's start off with progressive AI mode. Tell us a little bit about it. What does it do? How does it work? What have we added to this app?
AI mode, yes. Well, let's actually even start all the way back to how is AI going to help people who are using the GGX platform at all, right?
Yep.
So the first important basic idea is that if people are using email and text messages, SMS and WhatsApp and so forth to do all of this trading, if we have someone, let's say you're a new GGX trader, you've joined the GGX platform, one of the really important things we want to do is to make it easy for you to continue to work with all of your counterparties without necessarily forcing all of your counterparties to also be on the GGX platform. We want to get them onto the platform. We hope that we will convince them they'll all be on board at some point. But in the meantime, let's make the barriers to entry really low. And so what that means is that the trading agent, which is the first real significant use of AI in the GGX system, it's an agent, an AI-driven agent that's acting on your behalf. You're the GGX on-platform trader, and this trading agent is acting on your behalf. So if I, Zander, am an off-platform trader, then the AI agent is going to be interacting with, interpreting, and doing things with and because of my messages. I'm off platform. I send a message to you on the platform, and the AI agent does something to make you, the on-platform user, to make your life easier, right?
Great.
Okay,
Yep,
so now let's talk about progressive mode. There are two modes at the moment for this trading agent. First, they're manual and auto is what they're called. There's going to be a suggest mode that's not implemented yet, and that will be auto mode, but you, the on-platform user, will have the option to sort of step in and decide whether or not to send the AI agent's message or edit it first or whatever. That's what suggest mode is. But basically, we have manual, we have auto. So in manual mode, the agent is in charge of interpreting my off-platform messages to you, the on-platform trader, and surfacing structured order actions out of them. So if I want to accept an order from you that you've proposed, the order has appeared earlier in our conversation, in our chat history, and I say, yeah, I'll take that one, order number 3, the syringes, whatever. Then what the AI agent does in manual mode is it surfaces what you on platform will see is a structured order action. It's not just text, it's a structured order action box. And you can accept my acceptance, or you can reject it, or you can edit, or you can type it back whatever you want. Yep. Or if I want to counter, I want to say, propose a different price or whatever, then again, it's the agent's job to surface that to you on platform, not just as text, but as a structured order action. That all make sense?
Yep, makes perfect sense.
So that's manual mode. Now, in manual mode, the agent doesn't get to say anything to me, the off-platform trader. In auto mode, the agent does get to say things, to actually send messages back to me, the off-platform trader. And it's probably worth mentioning that auto mode, I don't know, some people are excited about AI, some people are kind of scared by AI.
I was just going to ask a little bit about guardrails. So it's amazing. We have it automatically sending off messages. How do we keep it safe? How can we apply some guardrails to this, or what have we done?
Right. So the most important way in which the most important guardrail that we have is that even in auto mode, the AI agent does not actually have the ability to do anything truly substantive. And what I mean by that is the end result of anything is still that there is a structured order action that gets surfaced in the GGX app to you, the on-platform trader, and then you decide what to do with it.
Yep.
So if there's an acceptance or a counter or a rejection or a pass or whatever that came from me, it appears as a structured order action. You then decide what to do. But the on-platform trader human are still very much in the loop. And it literally does not have the ability to sell all of your inventory for 3 cents on the dot. Like that's not a thing that can happen. We thought
exactly. Yeah, perfect. That makes perfect sense. Great.
Yeah.
I could see that becoming an issue potentially, but that's great.
Yeah. I mean, as people in general, people are right to raise these concerns, right? As we get more comfortable with it, can do these amazing things. Let's let it have full control over the entire system and do whatever it wants. We're not there yet.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, but so back to the what auto mode actually is, right? In manual mode, it's the job of the agent to surface these structured order actions. And when it decides that it doesn't know how to do that, it's confused, something I said it thought was ambiguous or confusing or whatever, then it doesn't do anything. That's in manual mode. In auto mode, it can send a message back to me and essentially say, wait, what? If I say, oh, I'll take 83,000 of the widgets, but on the green ones, let's go for 250 per unit. And maybe that message was totally clear. And if so, then the agent should surface, acceptance on 83K of the widgets. And here's a counter proposal for 250 per unit on the green ones. If the green ones isn't clear to the agent what that means, it can send a message back to me, the off-platform trader, and basically say, sorry, I'm not sure what you meant by the green ones. Can you clarify that? Right. And then the agent and I can have a back and forth. And the thing that this is doing for you, the on-platform user, is, hopefully there's a lot of back and forth that you're dealing with on I don't know if it's a daily basis or a weekly basis or whatever, with dozens of counterparties potentially. And a lot of the details there can now be offloaded to the agent, and you're in charge of being there for the important decisions, of actually being the human in the loop on the structured order actions. And again, you on platform can step in and say whatever you want with your own text message that you can send back to me at any time.
Yeah. And of course, you'll have a complete record of everything the agent's been communicating and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Perfect. Yeah. Sounds great. I'm super excited to see how our customers end up using it.
Yeah, me too. And it's exciting because, I mean, it's, in the very early stages, it's so much fun to be in these conversations where we have various people saying, well, I think the way people are going to use this is blah, blah, blah. And somebody else says, well, I think the way people are going to use this is blah, 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 this other thing. And, at some point we have to admit, like, none of us actually knows for sure. You don't actually know until you get it out there and people are using it. And then you really find out. And so as that information starts to come back to us, because then you're not shooting in the dark. You're actually responding to real requests and needs for utility from your users. And so, yeah, we're starting to get into that realm, which is a good feeling.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Yep.
Cool. So last time we talked to Spencer, we were talking a little bit about the rollout of multi-order mode, things like that, a new production system update that we just had. What's the update? Specifically, I know we have a new production system. I'll just give you both of these things. Like, talk a little bit about the new production system update that we just made, and then let's just kind of follow up a little bit more on multi-order mode. Are customers still digging it? Are we getting more traction? That kind of stuff.
Yes. So most importantly, multi-order mode is a specific request that we received, and we've put the effort into building out the first version of it, and so that's exactly one of those things where that wasn't a guess on our part. Like, we actually have the real feedback that this is how people work, and they need to have some kind of multi-order mode because that's how they work now. And if GGX is going to make their lives better, that it needs to accommodate that. So we have rolled out the first version of that, which is excellent. I haven't heard any direct feedback yet, which I'm sure means that it's perfect.
Yeah, always, of course.
But yes, so that has been rolled out, and along with it, as far as the trading agent is concerned, the first sort of full version of the both manual and auto mode of what I was describing as the AI trading agent acting on behalf of the on-platform user was rolled out in this recent production release.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking forward to hearing feedback of how people are using it and hearing the accolades about how it all works fantastically well.
I've heard it's great so far from our customer that has requested it, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
So now the thing about multi-order, well, I mean, I could go on, indefinitely about things that we know our customers aren't supposed to care about, because it's the job of the engineers to just make it all magically work, and then the customers don't have to worry about it.
Of course.
So I may leave that to you, whether we want to sort of delve into any details like that or not. The reason I'm asking is, when I think about multi-order mode as AI engineer, what I have been very aware of and working on for the last couple of weeks is that the more complex the context of the conversation, the harder the job is for a single LLM call, right?
Yeah.
So we have LLMs, these large language models, that are essentially the driving engine of most of what people nowadays are hearing about as AI agents at lots of different companies, including here at GGX.
Yep.
And the difference, and some people are clear on this, and I think some people are maybe not. So let's just very quickly do a recap of the difference between a large language model and an agent. So a large language model is a huge neural network where you can input a whole bunch of text, that people call it a prompt, right? And you get a bunch of text back. And you can ask it things about, which one of these things is not like the others? Apple, pear, peach, skyscraper, right? And it can get the answer to that question. Let's see, is it 4 years ago? Yeah, it was the end of 2022. 4 years ago, that was still kind of science fiction.
Yep. And then GPT.
And then GPT-3 in November, I think, of 2022. And then everything has been changing at breakneck pace since then. So, but anyway, back to the basic idea. So the large language model, the LLM, is this core model that sort of understands language. And there are very important things that we as engineers need to learn, and that people as users need to learn about what that means and what it doesn't mean. Like, what's the scope of what skills does this thing have? Is it good at? And what skills does it not have? Is it not good at? And so the most important thing from my perspective is the idea that keeping track of a wide-ranging conversation on multiple different subjects is something that our human minds are really good at, and we take it for granted, right?
Yep.
But for the LLM, for the GGX trading agent, let's go back to that real example. If you have, 10 active orders in the channel, in the conversation between you and me, and you and I are sort of hopping back and forth between, we're talking about the syringe order, and we're talking about the medical gowns order, and we're talking about the N95 masks, and then we're talking about, are you going to come with me to the game this weekend, which has nothing to do with trading? And then we go back to, it is non-trivial for a large language model to sort of sift through all of that. And so when you have multiple orders in a channel, the problem went from hard to significantly harder.
Yeah. Well, I think another component of this, and, obviously stop me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe so. But one of the GGX's advantages is that we can deal in all kinds of non-standardized commodities. Oftentimes they have different words to call them. It might just say, I want the medical masks, or the N95 masks, or the carbon credits, or the whatever. These are not standardized terms and things that is as simple as a, commodity traded over a normal like mercantile exchange or something like that. So I think having an LLM be able to decipher what's being said, even if it isn't exactly normalized language, I think is a huge advantage.
Yes, and having a model, so a little bit more under the hood. You've heard of fine tuning, yes?
Yep.
So that's something that we're not doing yet. At some point farther down the road, we almost certainly will get into that, because to fine-tune a large language model, what you just said is an excellent example of what fine-tuning is really, really good for. Having a fine-tuned large language model that knows all of the trading terminology for thousands of different non-standard commodities, that's something where GPT-5 and Claude Opus 4.7 and Gemini 3.1, I think is where that one still is. They're conversant with a lot of those terms, but across so many different realms and domains, and knowing all of the terminology for non-standard wholesale commodities trading, that's not something that those models are fine-tuned for. And so to fine-tune a large language model where it knows N95 and it knows masks and it knows like tape ties versus knit cuffs, or I'm making these things up sort of off the top of my head, but and there are different attributes for each of these thousands of commodities. So fine-tuning a large language model that will actually have internalized all of those details, we're not there yet. That's not something we're doing right now, but we're going to get there, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's something we have to nail, and I think that that's one of the,
absolutely.
the advantages that we're going to bring to
in the long term, even in the medium term. That is for GGX to fulfill its promise. That is a place that GGX is absolutely going to go.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
For the moment, what we're using this sort of standard LLMs as the driving engine of our agent, with a backing database of information about these thousands of non-standard commodities. And it works, but it requires more engineering as opposed to fine-tuning, which sort of internalizes and bakes in all that knowledge into the neural network itself. And it's also ultimately somewhat slower. So another advantage of fine-tuning is that the whole thing will be faster down the road. But for right now, we have an agent driven by an LLM interacting with the database that has information about all these attributes for all these thousands of commodities in order to be able to recognize the terminology, answer questions appropriately from the traders, and so forth.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. But let me just briefly finish tying off the idea. I'm trying not to go too far into the technical weeds, right? But of the difference between a large language model and an agent. So a large language model, there's a single call to an LLM. You send it a prompt, which is a bunch of text, and you get a bunch of text back. That's it. An agent is something that will make 1 or 2 or 7 or who knows exactly how many calls to an LLM, and has access to tools where it can, like one tool is send a message back to the off-platform trader. That's me, right?
Yep.
Another tool is actually submit a fully instantiated counterproposal to the GGX database to be saved as a new row in the database. So it goes from sort of fuzzy freeform text that's temporarily saved in the quote mind unquote of the agent to it's real, it's in the GGX database, it was just added as a new row. So the agent has to know how to do that, right? Yep. It has to have access to a tool that does that. And then the logic of the agent is breaking down how the agent thinks and plans and reasons about, okay, I just got this message from Zander, right? The off-platform trader. It said something about gowns, it said something about syringes, and something about a game this weekend. And then, so it might, for example, break down like, okay, I'm actually going to break that into 3 separate issues. And each one of those issues may have several LLM calls associated with it. And so there's this harness code. So this is the agent, right? There's all of this harness code and logic around the driving engine, which is the large language model. And that's the difference between the LLM and the agent.
The agent, yep. Makes perfect sense. Cool.
So, end technical rant.
I love it. I think it's good that we definitely want to provide a deep dive. And if you've made it this far in the video, congratulations. It's amazing. All right, let's tie a bow on this. Talk a little bit more about, well, actually, to continue the AI discussion, we're using AI to help us code the platform as well. So maybe talk a little bit about that, and then we'll finish up with what we've got planned for the second half of the year. I mean, when this video goes out, we're going to be right around the end of May, beginning of June, which is kicking us off into the second half of 2026. So tell us how we're using AI to help code the actual application and what we can expect in the second half.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, using AI coding assistants. Let's start with that one. So we don't have one way to do it. Each engineer at GGX is free to do their own thing. I mean, we talk to each other, and we've converged on some common tools, to be sure. I personally actively avoid the term vibe coding. To be
It's a
clear,
very weighted term. It's a very weighted term.
It has a lot of that term has acquired a lot of baggage very quickly, right?
And rightfully so. Let's be honest. Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Absolutely. So I see it as sort of a continuum, right? At one end of the spectrum, there are people who have never written a line of computer code in their lives, who have access to these new tools, these AI coding agents, that can actually write code for them and can actually, in a meaningful way, write code that might actually do something real for these people that they can use in some way. And that's incredible. It's extraordinary. That there's, again, 4 years ago, science fiction, right?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. For a large, complex system like GGX, and I think there's a spectrum of the extent to which some people do or don't have or have not thought about this and do or do not understand it, that vibe coding without understanding computer code yourself and without ever looking at the code yourself is only going to get you so far and no farther. It may get you something very complex that you can ship out the door, but it's going to be spaghetti code and it's not going to be maintainable and you're going to regret it down the road.
Yeah.
So we have developed, and as I said, each engineer is free to work in their own precise way, but we talk and we communicate about our standards and our practices, and we review each other's code. And so we've developed some consensus standards for how to use these coding assistants. And the way that works for me is, so I've settled on Claude Code as my current assistant of choice. Things change so quickly. A few months from now, that may have changed again. Who knows? But I'm not revisiting the decision every week.
Yeah.
I have to actually focus and get some stuff done. I have found Claude Code to be a really useful sounding board for design discussions. It's definitely not the same as actually having another human engineer to discuss with, but it's more a sounding board than it is a true collaborative process. But as a sounding board, I find it extremely useful. So I actually engage in design conversations with Claude Code to, map out at a high level, here's the sort of shape of the next thing we're going to build, right?
Yep.
And then when we start getting into the details, there comes a point, and this is a learned, and I'm not even sure I know how to articulate it in words. There's a certain level of specificity. Like if I describe something at a very high level and then tell Claude Code, just build it. It'll build something and it'll probably work more or less. But when I go and look at the code myself, I invariably will have repeated moments of sort of, that was not like, nah.
Well, not to mention another engineer wants to participate in your code base and you're like,
exactly.
What is this?
Exactly. And so learning the level of specificity, like talking from a general design architectural plan down to what level, like learning where that level of specificity is, where I can say, okay, at this level of specificity, I haven't written a line of code yet. I now do actually mostly trust Claude Code. That if I say, okay, we've fleshed out the plan in a fair amount of detail, now just go and fill it all in. And it'll mostly do it. But then I go in and I double check and I look, and sometimes I don't like the decisions that it made and I move things around. So this is, on the spectrum where pure vibe coding is over here and, hovering over every single tiny decision that the AI coding assistant makes is over here. I feel like I'm like, there-ish, right?
Yeah.
Like closer to being all the way in the code than I am to pure vibe coding. But I'm definitely not writing all the code myself the way I was 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that that's pretty much par for the course. I mean, we want to ship something
yeah.
that's not just a prototype, that's something that can actually be useful as a commercialized product. I think you can't just vibe code it and expect it to be perfect.
Yeah,
So,
well,
I
I
think
mean,
you got to
some
strike
people
that balance, right?
some people are actually out there banking on that. I think that in the long run, they're going to be proven, that was penny wise, pound foolish, as the saying goes.
Well,
Right?
maybe at some point it'll be to the point where it's
Well,
not
no, as
like
the
spaghetti
AI
code
coding
and stuff,
assistants get better, that this may all change. It may all change radically a few years from now. Who knows? Because things are changing so quickly that, and that's another thing. And this gets back not just to how we're using coding assistants as engineers at GGX, but for the GGX platform itself. Things are changing quickly enough in technology, in AI in particular, that as an engineering team and as a company, we have to be aiming ahead.
Yeah.
We have to be actively working on, which is hard because when we start having conversations about what are we going to be doing a year from now, using the abilities that AI will provide for us a year from now that it hasn't provided to us yet, we have to be guessing. We don't actually know for sure exactly what abilities AI will have a year from now, but things are changing and moving quickly enough that it's not really realistic to just wait and see. Yeah. You have to be kind of planning ahead. So that creates this interesting new aspect to the design process.
Yeah, for sure. Makes sense. Cool. All right. Just to keep us on time, this will be our longest dev diary, but that's cool. I like it. Give us just a quick hint at what we're going to be working on in the coming weeks, months, that kind of stuff. So we have something to talk about in our next dev diary.
Yes. So there is an important addition to the current trading agent that I've been describing, and that is the ability for the off-platform trader, who, again, that's me, Zander, in our example, to be able to actually initiate orders, to create orders. So at the moment, the trading agent only knows how to help the off-platform trader interact with orders that were created by you in our example, the on-platform trader.
On-platform, yeah, exactly.
The most interesting part of that is that we need a RAG system so introducing that popular buzzword that I think a lot of people have heard, but some people have heard it but may not know exactly what it is. I'll, again, trying not to get too far into the technical weeds. The reason we need that is that when you, the on-platform trader, created a bunch of orders, you had access in the GGX app interface to the definitions of the products that are available, right? That are understood by the system. And so when you created them, you didn't need AI to help you translate and use those definitions. For me, the off-platform trader, if I say, hey, I've got 68 metric tons of wood pulp, right? That's just plain text. And so the interesting, important new thing about it's called the create order agent, which is it's a sub-agent of the trading agent, that is new there, is that part of the agent is going to need to be able to receive that text message, go to our definitions database, find the correct definition, and surface a structured order action that is a creation of a new order that has not just the words wood pulp, it has to have the full structured definition of wood pulp, which has a unique ID and it has attributes associated with it in our database, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Yep. So that's a peek behind the engineering issues involved. But again, at a high level, the next big thing for the trading agent is the create order agent, so that I, the off-platform trader, can actually create orders.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's really big because one of the reasons we started GGX is because there's a whole fragmented use case for these traders where they're on WhatsApp, text message, email, this kind of stuff. And if they can just use their normal text message language to initiate a structured order using our system and have it kind of reverse look up products that we know about, that's huge. It's amazing. You don't have to have the GGX app to take advantage of it.
Right. Exactly. The next big thing, which my understanding is that this is probably a tiny bit farther out, hopefully for this year, I would think, but we'll see, is an on-platform AI assistant. And so that could mean a lot of different things, and hopefully farther down the road will mean a lot of different things. But let's start with one obvious example. When you, the on-platform trader, are creating a batch of orders, right now there's an interface in the GGX app for clicking through and choosing a definition and choosing recipients and entering prices and quantities, and having an assistant that gives you the ability to upload, it could be a spreadsheet, right? And say, and just type in, you're on platform, and you have a little text box for your on platform AI assistant, which doesn't exist yet, but it's coming soon, saying, here's a spreadsheet, upload, please turn this into a batch of orders for me. Thank you, go, right?
Yep.
And ideally, and again, this is, was closer to science fiction than reality 4 years ago, of having a system without extensive tooling and engineering under the hood that could do that with a spreadsheet, with a text file, with a CSV file. Depending on your handwriting, it may be able to do it with something you wrote on a napkin and took a picture of.
Yeah.
And that may sound a little like ha ha ha, but depending on if your handwriting is decent, and legible.
Yeah, I could absolutely see it. I could absolutely see that.
Yep. And 4 years ago, science fiction.
Yeah, for sure.
But now it's much closer to a reality. So we can think of many other possible uses or possible abilities that we can give to the on-platform AI assistant. But that's perhaps the most obvious first one, at least that comes to my mind. So creating orders for the trading agent and the on-platform assistant, those are the two next big things on the horizon, I think.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it. So this is going to be super exciting for us. Cool. Zander, thank you so much for
absolutely
hopping on and giving us a nice AI deep dive. I think it's been about time for us to get a good AI-centered episode of these Dev Diaries. So really excited for people to hear about the progress that we've been making. Join us in about a month for our next Dev Diary, where we're going to talk a little bit more about the things that we went over today, seeing how they're working on and what GGX is looking like in the future. Thank you so much, Zander.
Thank you.